we'll put that under B, after we approve the agenda. I also, if everybody doesn't have it, add the conversation about the bats underneath, the last one underneath section B. And then we have some updates underneath the HUD report under section C.
And we need to add the 2 presentations that were not here.
I said that.
What I'm saying.
I didn't add them. And we had some things to discuss underneath the HUD report. And under section E, Ms. Jones, under section E, do we have any update on anything?
I can remember it for a minute.
Okay, we'll put that underneath the last thing under section E. And,
So what was that? Say hand in hand?
hand in hand, last one under residential services. And, before we approve of the minutes, we have 2 presentations to be given, one from Love Smart and one from, Boys and Girls Club. Yeah. Say what now?
They're only under E.
Okay, they under E, okay, see it right there?
Okay, but they'll be giving their presentations, we'll be voting.
Right. Yeah, that's correct. All right. So,
Madam Chair, add an executive session at the end of the.
yes, okay.
How could we forget?
I did. All right, so at this time, I will call for a motion.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
And hearing the first, and now I hear the second. And hearing the first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposers have the same. Hearing none, that motion carries. And at this time, we're going to install our new resident commissioner.
Ladies, welcome. Left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. I, Denise Hayes, having accepted an appointment to serve as Commissioner of the Housing Authority, City of Brunswick, do hereby swear that I shall abide by the laws, rules, and regulations which govern the operation of housing authorities in the state of Georgia, and that I shall endeavor during my tenure to serve the low-income citizens of my community by providing safe, sanitary, and affordable housing. Thank you. Welcome.
Then you on the other side. All right. Did all commissioners, did y'all all have a chance to read over the minutes? Do we have anything to change about?
Well, I didn't. I think I need to get a housing authority email. I think the minutes, Curry, you did send them out to my business account. And I don't check that as regular as some of the others. So I didn't even get a housing authority email, unless you send it to my county email. Right. But I don't check that as often for this kind of stuff. Yeah, so if I can get a housing authority email, I'm not going to be here long enough to get one. You all can just send it to my public, my county. I know I'm there until at least 2024.
So if you all check the minutes, do you want to vote on acceptably or altogether? Okay. To approve of the last month minutes, I will call for a motion.
Move to approve the regular meeting held on June 26, 2023, special call meetings held on June 28, 29, 30th, 2023, the minutes for each of those.
And hearing the first, do I hear a second?
Second.
And hearing the first and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The opposers have the same. Okay, that's 3-1. Okay. So that motion is 3-1. Moving on to new business. Resident Commissioner, Ms. Hayes. You can sit there.
We just wanted an update on the MOU. You said that you hadn't gotten it, and you said you did get it, and we just want to know what's the standing on it.
I signed it. I signed that one.
Who did you say that you did?
I signed it in person in the signature folder.
I asked you for it, and you said I hadn't gotten it, but I will sign it. I asked you
And I
for it.
did sign it, so I signed it.
Who asked the phone?
The phone and hand
We just need to print off another copy and sign it again?
Where'd you sign it?
Here.
That you left it here? In this one? Or this?
But I signed it here because I had a bunch of papers. I had minutes and other things to sign.
I can turn it on there.
Okay.
Other than that, our event is on the 15th. I would appreciate it if you like it, if any of the commissioners that are available come out and show support to the residents that are
This month?
this month on the 15th from 10 to 2. Trying to beat the sun.
Saturday.
That's the commissioner did nothing boo.
We were hoping to get it, we haven't yet. And I
That's
was
right.
curious.
I'm in the double room, so I definitely need to
You
be
good?
there.
Yeah.
We're surprised. We're surprised. How many chances you get? Really? How many chances you get? 3? A softball?
I don't want to promise that if she doesn't come true. Last I heard, we weren't able to secure the update. But we will have snow cones, cotton candy, games for the kids, and door prizes.
Okay.
Well, I'll be ready if it's there.
Thank you. Okay. Do you have a copy of the, do you have an original copy of that? Because I can sign it on the one today.
She's
just printed it.
Okay. All right. Next up is facilities management. Mr.
Good morning.
Good morning.
For those of you that may not know me, I'm Laquita Jones, and I was appointed here to be the interim director throughout the process while they are looking for a permanent director. And I'm standing in Mr. Ed Williams' place. He is actually at a training this week in Macon for maintenance. So I do have a few updates that I'd like to give. The first one is dealing with the Mercer burn units update. And they are currently working on those particular units. And Mr. Williams did come to me to get my opinion of what he was asking for. He is asking for a change order on the flooring. And simply because of the original flooring that they had discussed using, he felt like it wasn't good enough, you know, for as far as the upkeep on it. If they had a flood, then it was a possibility of the water getting underneath underneath it and then producing mold and mildew. So they've had it happen in the past, so he's trying to prevent that from happening. So he did present me with some documents that he was going to present to the architect to actually do a change order on that. And that is going with ceramic flooring throughout the entire unit. And they've done this in the past as well. And he said that it's easier upkeep for them, and it doesn't take them as long whenever they're going in to get the units ready as well. So it'll save them some time, and it would also prevent further damage from happening, per se, if they had a flood, which is, you know, not predictable when those types of things happen. So I did tell him this is what he's working with. It's going to make it easier for him and the maintenance guys to make it, you know, easier for the upkeep of the units. Then I didn't see a problem with that, and of course he'll get with finance as well before we proceed with that. But those were the things that he discussed with me on the Mercer burn units.
Was it a change in their cost?
Yes.
Was it a big change, a significant change?
The change in the cost, now I don't know what the original cost was on that particular thing, but I know that it would increase, this would add $21,000 to that cost for that.
Yeah, I thought he presented and we approved that.
Did he?
You want to do it for them.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So, but I thought we had approved.
Okay.
We did, but
You may have, but that is an update that he gave, and I did approve it for him as well, so they don't have it approved twice, so. looks
but like you
it's
said, he
okay.
wanted to change the type of flooring that he
Yeah.
was putting in there.
Correct, rather than the plank flooring. then
To the
he wanted
ceramic.
To the ceramic,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Okay, and then the next update that's listed is dealing with Whispering Oaks. And as we discussed the last time, it was dealing with the roof repairs, so that we could get a better deductible with the insurance company. And he has not gotten that together. He is diligently working on that, but he is still trying to acquire the 3 estimates that is required to procure it. So still in the process. We don't have the numbers together yet, but once we do, then we'll be able to proceed with that.
Good. Thank you.
When is that insurance renewal?
I'm not sure. October?
Yes,
It's something we gotta do to keep that,
And
Right,
we think
right.
we're on pace to get all the quotes in and hopefully get it taken care of so we can get that done.
Yeah, because they're not gonna replace the roofs, it's just gonna be repaired. And then he already had his crew, working on trying to get some of the limbs and the brush that they were saying that were up against the units. I think they will be able to do that in-house. So they were working on that as well.
Also, how we looking with the relationship of the company that is running it at this time?
That I will have to find out. As you know, I'm just coming in here, so I can't answer that right now. But I will find out about that. I've seen the premises, and that's about it. Haven't met any of the management.
What's your thoughts about it?
The look of it, as I told Ms. Bailey and Ms. Sheffield, it could be a model example of, because I don't think that development was built that long ago.
Mm-mm.
And it could be a model development if it has the upkeep and everything that it needs there, that it's properly run.
Yeah, it was pretty nice when it was first built. Folks were running it now. Were there anybody in the office when you went through?
I did not go in, we rode around the facility. Yeah.
The other concern to look into for us to Ms. Jones is to ensure that, looking at the properties being maintained and checked on, because there's a lot of units in that area that have more.
And the next item is dealing with the landscaping contract. And I think the last time he brought to you the solicitations that he had received. And so they are currently, he did sign a contract with Gerald. Mr. Gerald, and so he is making sure that they are being compliant and providing the needs that the authority wants, and he made it clear that at any time that the contract can be terminated if the services and the requests aren't being met there. So he is diligently working with that, and he has his maintenance crew that's going behind him as well to make sure that those issues are being taken care of. And then the last thing on his list is dealing with the painting and cleaning contract. And Friday, we would go into the contract agreement with Fleming, who was the low bid. And they actually started Monday. He gave them the notice to proceed. And so they started on Monday, and they are planning to give us 5 units a week. And that includes the painting and the cleaning. But then, of course, our maintenance have to go in behind them and make the repairs, whatever's needed after that. So we're looking to kind of get this vacancy issue under control, and that's what that will help with. Because before they had a contract with HD, and HD, they did the 20 units. They're actually done with their 20, but their costs were not sustainable with what they were paying for that. So Fleming was a lot lower, and so that's what we were here with that. And as I stated, we did sign a contract with them on Friday, and they have already started. And so Mr. Williams told him that he will meet with him every Friday, and they'll go through, do their walkthrough, and then from there, he'll present you with another 5 units to start the following week. And so that's how that will roll until we get it all caught up.
Sounds good.
And, okay, we're moving on then to C, which is dealing with the financial updates and the HUD report. No, I'm sorry.
The backs.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The bats. I just found out about the bat situation.
Right, and I'll start because I'm the one who put it on the radar.
Okay.
I was approached at a community meeting by a mother of one of our residents through a colleague, Jeff Clark, and she was explaining that the bats are in the unit. She's in unit number 60, and it's so bad their smell is so pungent just throughout the apartment. And so after, and I talked with Mr. Williams on yesterday, so he told me he was at the conference, but he's been trying to work on this, as you all saw the emails that he sent down. And so this is not the first time we've had this issue. It was in another unit. They found a hole and I guess they locked it up so they couldn't get back in there, but they migrated to this other unit. And it seems like it's been going on for a minute. I'm not sure. She's put I see the officer saying that she's familiar with it. And you know, I can only imagine that if somehow they got into the apartment from the ceiling, and you know, I believe they carry rabies naturally, and these children and families. But anyway, so he and I have been working on this because there's a process, because it's bat season or something. So you have to get a waiver, a health waiver. And so we're trying to figure out how to get that done. I talked with the Director of Environmental Health, Soroya Morris, with the Coastal Health District. She's researching that. I also called the head of the Department of Natural Resources, Doug Clayton. He is supposed to be having somebody call me back today, because he was going to look to see if they have anybody that does the removal. And we may not have to pay for it, but I think Ed has been talking to, he's getting a couple people to come in tomorrow, give us an estimate on the cost. And but Doug is telling me They also have to look out because the bats have been dying from a white nose disease. And so their numbers have been going down, which means they're probably kind of protected or something. So you have to go through a procedure. So I'm waiting, hopefully, to talk to somebody from DNR today. My concern is the family or families over there. So Ms. Jones, if you can follow up, and I don't know if we need to, the families may not want to go anywhere, they've been living with it now, they may want to stick it out. But if there were, you know, if we can honor the request for a transfer, and I don't know if we have the units yet, or if we need to put them up, is what I'm recommending to the board. We have to put them, you know, up somewhere else in a hotel or something. But I just, I can't imagine living in there or trying to sleep with my kids and something get in there. So if we can deal with that, you know, find out what our options are and see what we can deal with. But hopefully between you and Ed and myself, and whoever else we need to get in touch with, that we can get somebody to come in and get those bats out of there. And obviously there needs to be some repairs if they're getting in there some kind of way. So, and I'm sure Ed will handle that when he gets back. But when we find out what's needed, Mayor, I'm glad you're here because they told us we might need to get the city to declare a health declaration or something. I don't know if that's true or not, but we'll find out from DNR. I think that they will give us the roadmap to get this taken care of.
Thank you. Did you have more information than I have?
That's right. Listen, it just kind of came to me. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
You know, the lady said her daughter's been asking for a transfer for some time for the bats. And then when Ed said, yeah, he saw him a couple of years ago, but you know, he wasn't the head of maintenance. So, but they did remove him. He said that they blocked up the hole. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what we're gonna have to do with that because they've been living in there. You know, I'm pretty sure they made a home for themselves, and we need the problem. You know,
You said 60, and that sounds, is it?
that's Hopkins.
Okay, is that the only one that you know of that was?
That's where the complaint came from. That's where she said her daughter, but I think it's that whole area. So when DNR go check it out, 'cause that's what we need them to do. They'll let us know if so it may take a little something. I don't know how many families in that row.
We'll find out.
Yeah, and
We'll find out, and if you'll touch base with me after you hear back from them as well, and then I know Mr. Williams is in training, but I will touch base with him also to see exactly where he is with it as well. Because he did state in the email that he was awaiting a quote from Terminex for the removal, but then as you stated in the email, he also said that he was informed that you can't bother them because of the season that it is between May and September. And so, says it's a federal violation, but I think when you're dealing with the health and safety, that there has to be a way around that. So we'll definitely look into that, see what we can find out and get those things set up.
yeah, I texted them early this morning to let them know that I'm waiting to hear from DNR. So, and I think, I don't know, I need your number. I've been trying to reach you for a couple of days.
Okay.
And to kind of talk about a couple other things as well. Okay.
Before we move forward, Chair Lady Bailey, I just recognized this report, so I think we need to have this agenda.
We're gonna do, yeah.
Okay, all right.
We're gonna do it after she finishes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's on the bats. Did I miss anything else?
That was all for facilities.
All right, so we'll go into the financial updates, which is dealing with the HUD report. And they have not updated the findings that were in the report. So it still stands at the 44 being cleared, the 600 reviewed, the 25 that they have not even looked at. And when I spoke with Ms. Christina Miller and Ms. Shaw, both they're working on it, but kind of leisurely, so we'll see update. Normally they send the emails, and as we get those updates, we will provide those. But dealing with that particular report, nothing has changed on that.
We've provided more information though, right?
Yes,
And they just haven't updated on their side.
yes, they have answered all of the findings, but HUD just has not reviewed it. So to clear,
That's great.
yeah, so.
Let's let them be slow about it.
Yeah, so nothing on their end as far as like they're asking for more information and it just hasn't been presented, nothing like that. They just haven't really did it yet. Yeah.
Okay.
So, we'll wait for an update on that. And,
Next one.
I'll wrap them up. I think that was pretty much it dealing with that part of it. Cause I'll come back and talk about the individual stuff.
Okay,
And then I'll grab those two that we just mentioned.
thank you.
Thank you.
Before we continue with our next section, we have to have Officer Corporal Wright come up and do her report. It was nothing.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll be reading June's monthly report, giving a little insight on some of the calls that I have went to. So for Abbott Andrews, for the month of June, their calls was 22. We had 2 reports, which one was a missing person, which was found, and the second was a weapon offense. The weapon offense came from a unit calling about, it was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, stating people came to her residence with guns. So as I took the report, talked to the people, of course it was mixed stories. No, we didn't have guns. As I watched cameras, they was walking down with an AR down at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Excuse me?
It was 4 actually, 4 guns. So after watching video, I could see before we got there, they ran to another unit. I went to that unit. Mother actually tried to give me problems. We went head to head. So by the time she let me in the unit, I flipped the mattress that was 4 guns. 2 of them was stolen and 2 of them serial numbers was altered. It was a juvenile. One was a juvenile. He did get arrested. He did get something on. And the other 3 to 4 was over the age of 18, so they was adults. So warrants are pending for them. So the guns was recovered. As I say, 2 of them was stolen. 2 of them serial numbers was altered. Brooklyn Home Annex, we had 5 calls, 0 reports. Brooklyn Home North, we had 38 calls, 4 reports, which 2 was domestics, 1 led to an arrest. 1 was a harassment, the other one was a follow-up, which the follow-up was actually connected to the homicide, which led to an arrest of 1 of our tenants. Brooklyn Home South, 10 calls, 2 reports, which 2 was assaults. Mercer Alabama, 9 calls, 0 reports. Shocking. McIntyre Court, 48 calls, 4 reports. Runaway juvenile, assault, a theft, and 1 was actually a traffic stop, which he was one of our tenants' boyfriends trying to flee into the apartment. That's the only reason I added 2 or 1 of our calls because I had to come out for that. For Glenville, we had 38 calls, 3 reports, theft, suspicious, and child custody. For Hopkins Homes Index, we had 8 calls, no reports. And for Hopkins Homes, we had 13 calls and 1 report, which was a runaway juvenile, which was found. Any questions?
Commissioner, y'all have any questions?
The arrest around the murder, which murder was that?
It was,
And so they were found in Brooklyn Home?
she just resides. She just resides.
Okay. lot of issues with juveniles. And Board, I have a recommendation that we can talk about in the executive session, but
You know, I don't know if they still do it or not, but back in some time ago, when a tenant had drugs or something, they were evicted, right? What protocol, I guess that's leading up to what he's asking, can we do with these guns and these children? I don't know.
Usually right when I get the call, I contact site manager immediately, tell them what's going on. I try to do the report that same day to give them the report, but if it's like Abby Andrews where I have to go back to the office, watch camera, review camera footage to see if it's true, I will contact site manager, hey, can we meet over here because this is what's going to happen. Because sometimes the tenants will give me hard times. I have to reintroduce myself and okay, officer.
Right,
Talk to them, different control officers, but usually they see site manager face, they just give a, okay, yes, no. But usually I let site managers know right offhand what's going on at that time. And one fire was actually shot off. Nobody could see it, but I guess the traffic scan was, and our maintenance man was actually out there.
Are you privy to say what the kids who were found with those, what is their charge? What would they be fined?
This juvenile was actually charged with theft by receiving property times 2, which is a felony. Also serial numbers times 2, which was a felony, and having a firearm under the age of 18, charged with each shooting firearm.
And that's juvenile detention.
Yeah. But they
So do those things build up instead of a paper check? Yeah, it's build up. It's supposed to. Glad to see you in a building.
yeah,
It's been a minute.
we're meeting. I'm meeting after this meeting. Hopefully, we're done by 1 o'clock with Ed Riley at Juvenile Court with a group of pastors to try to see how we can help from the community standpoint. And also the DA's office has sent out a gang suppression program that they're doing in Cobb County that I think has some merit for us to look at. I really think we need to, well, I'll make a recommendation in executive sessions.
Okay. All right. Any more questions, commissioners?
No, I think that's enough.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Corporal Wright, how many people are working with you in housing? Just you?
Me, on all 9.
And what's your hours? What's your shift?
It varies. Like 1 week I may do 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. Next week I do 9 to 5 to Saturday, but lately I've been working till midnight.
Yeah, I see you back.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have the gathering place, Mr. John Williams. Good morning.
Now, what am I supposed to be doing here?
The gathering place, the lease renewal, is that you?
Yes.
Okay.
We want to lease renewal. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do.
Tell us about the gathering place, what you do there.
Okay, so the other place is a youth ministry that is really designed to impact middle and high school students as well as college students. We have here recently opened up a new store that is supposed to help with financing and funding. It's called The Gather, which is located right there next to Brunswick High School. The office in which we're talking about is where we house, it's really our main office for all of our employees. And then of course we meet there with students periodically. And during the school year we do our 707 meetings there, some of them anyway. And it's a place where we kind of gather and kind of brainstorm about the upcoming programs that will be coming up following seasons.
Can you explain what the 707 is and talk about your summer program and internship?
Okay. Okay, yeah, 707 is really a Bible study program where you get an adult who will pour into the life of an individual, actually a group of individuals, starting at 6th grade through high school. And the reason they call it 707 because the actual groups meet at 707 in the mornings. And so they call it 707 all across the county. Probably some 800 students involved in that program. In the summer, we have a program called the DULOS program. It's for rising juniors and seniors. It's a leadership development program where we bring in 40 students from across the county, Brunswick High, Glen Academy, Frederica. We even had some Michaelfish County Academy students in our program to work in the community as well as get some sort of firm foundation in their faith. We'll teach them just basic skills about who they are and what God expects of them. That's that program.
So this building is occupied 5 days a week
Yeah. Yes.
from 7:07 to what time?
So the building over there off Bay Street, that's where our offices are. So there are people coming in and out periodically. We've got staff that's there all day, every day.
And so, this is the first time you do it. So is there, what's the lease renewal for? How long did we renew it for you before?
Now I'm taking a guess because this is my
This
first
is the
time.
first time.
It's a year.
It's a yearly?
Yeah.
Annual
Okay.
lease of the Bay Street property, and now the Housing Authority has a couple of offices in that same premises, building.
So you all
I'm
know.
glad you brought that up. I wanted
So-
to talk about that. My understanding that when that process happened, it was done unjustly with our staff, moving them over to that building. And I think it even caused, if we move forward with this lease, I believe it caused an inconvenience for them as well. And I don't think that is fair. So I think we should reconsider as a commission of bringing our staff back here. If we move with this lease and let the gathering place have the full access to the building like they had before. That's my recommendation.
So, we were down there last week, but you're in two different buildings, isn't that right? So the gathering place where we were at was facing Bay Street. And where Vincent Williams then, it's around the corner, it's not
They
in
had
the same.
that whole, it's the same building.
It's the
It's
same
all
It's
together.
that's
What
just
we
a
did-
back.
Yeah, what we did was there were 3 offices in that side, and they actually had to be moved to their homes
Okay.
because we didn't have the space any longer after they came in and took that. And of course, that back part was storage. We would store all of our program equipment.
So what happened, when I came on, I realized that the lease was breached because they initially had the whole entire, building. So I talked with Lucas and, he told me what happened, because I thought they were always in there. Housing had built a storage on that side, where the 2 offices are. So it's an 2 offices, storage that belongs to, gathering place in an open area where our residents meet for workshops. So the question was, who was going to pay for the increase in the electricity? That was a question that was asked by the gathering place, because with the building being occupied with more people, they have received an increase.
It's only 2 people over there, Ms. Rutledge and Mr. Williams.
Yeah.
But it was occupied, but our knowledge, we just said they were gonna go over it, but it did not come to us.
So the board didn't approve it?
It was just told that it had happened.
And we didn't have the space within our space, didn't have the space for everybody over there.
So do we have space now
Yeah.
for all of our staff?
Oh, no,
Here?
not if we take them out, no.
So what would we do?
Well, there's a couple, we'll talk about that later, but there's a couple of things we can do.
Well, I guess if we're gonna approve the renewal of the lease, I'd like to approve the lease for the entire building.
Right,
But we need to know what we're gonna do with our
right.
staff that's over there now.
Well, right now, are they well, when we went over there, they were over here because the air conditioner wasn't working, so I don't know if they're physically back over
Yeah,
there.
the air conditioner's back fixed. They're out on the youth leadership training this week. But if we wasn't in there, it's still our responsibility for the air conditioner. But the air conditioner, we have to get a whole new 5-ton unit that serves that side of the building. Because I think that building had about 3 units, 2 or 3 units. But the one that affected the lobby area and our part was fixed.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Commissioner Cullen that I think we should, if we have a space for the staff, then we should move the staff back. Or
No, we
something.
don't have space.
So we don't have any place for them to be.
That's why they had to go over there.
But, so, Miss Rutledge had an office over here prior to going over there, because she's been working here longer than Mr. Wills.
Mhm.
So who's in her office
I
now?
think Joyce is.
What's the status of the lease right now, month to month?
How much do we?
$60 a year.
$6 a year.
Mhm.
Y'all can handle that.
Yeah, I think we can.
Yeah, the only issue that came from them was who's gonna handle that increase.
So they pay the utilities?
Mhm.
Okay.
They pay all the utilities. I don't
Yeah.
know how much of an increase they have
Mhm.
paid them since the summer. But there wasn't an issue in the winter.
Right.
But what's going on now, they have access to the thermostat.
Who, gathering place?
No, we
Okay,
have access to it because it's on the gathering place side.
okay.
And we agreed to a temperature. And they know when they got in the building, it turns back up to 80. So that's been working fine.
Let me just say this, we're okay with them having what they've had, what they actually, like we're taking because it's theirs, secured, if you will, because we've made adjustments and we're okay with what we're doing now. So if we can keep it like it is, we'll be okay with that. Maybe just addressing the power issues as far as.
Well, I appreciate the flexibility and with you guys working with us, but again, I would like to echo that I think that you also have the full access of the building. And I think Ms. Jones, along with the staff, I think we should look at bringing our staff back over here or closer, looking forward. We do have other buildings, so I just think we should look at those things. Just look at it. You know, I'm not saying it has to be done, but just look at it.
Well, Mr. Williams, would it be, you said it's okay that we're occupying part of the building. Would it be better if we weren't?
A little more convenient.
See, that's it right there.
Well, and if we're, this kind of program with the report we just got, we really need to be building a stronger partnership with them and to help deal with our young people. So yeah, we need to look and see if there's a way for us to give them access to the whole building and increase their activities with our residents at the same time.
My recommendation would be that we table this until the regularly scheduled meeting and have staff provide us with an update on where we can move those staff and what we can do. And if we can't, we'll definitely have a solution for that.
Thank you.
And in the meantime, like Commissioner Booker said, due to the issues we having with juveniles, these are the only 2 programs that y'all do there, the Bible study and the Rising Junior and Seniors. So is there?
Well, all of our programs are implemented in other places, but a lot of the brainstorming and stuff takes place there.
Okay.
So in terms of students meeting there, our 707, some of our 707s meet there, but but all of our programs are in large facilities like gymnasiums.
Okay.
Or, you know, churches or things.
Okay, so y'all just brainstorm that and
Correct.
meet there, so you do
And they
the
were officers
projects. Right, other places, okay, all right. Yeah, so we'll table this. Do we have the, how to vote to table it? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
All right.
All right. Next, we have Resident Service, Mr. Jackson. We honored to present Valerie Williams with No Smart.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm gonna look on my phone. I had sent a packet in, but I don't think you all have it. But please feel free to ask me any questions. I'm with Love Smart. I'm the CEO of Love Smart. We are a nonprofit organization here in Brunswick. I've been doing this work with teen dating violence and domestic violence for over 20 years. But I've been doing Love Smart. We kind of focus on the youth because Georgia, we're #1 in the nation for teen dating violence. And we have been for over 6 years. It has now become an epidemic. The age was 16 to like 24, but now it has gone down. The universal age is 11. And so I started Love Smart because I was a victim of domestic violence for 20 minutes. My husband actually used to work here at the Housing Authority. And in a 20-minute period, he was never abusive. He ended up shooting me 3 times with a .38 Smith & Wesson. And I was shot in the head. I lost use of my arm for 2 years. I was shot in the arm. And from our livelihood being from Housing Authority, I ended up having to come here and sign up and get on Section 8 and become a resident of, Housing Authority. But I wanted to start Love Smart because I began to start seeing, I sat on the commission for the Georgia Commission of Family Violence in Atlanta for 6 years, and just began to start seeing that it was just happening, just exponentially. I mean, it's just everywhere. It doesn't matter your culture, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter your economic status. And so I knew if it happened to me in 20 minutes, that it could happen to anyone. And that knowledge and awareness is so important, but a lot of times because of people's guilt and shame, they don't want to go and get help. What's happening now is everything is becoming so normalized until unhealthy and toxic relationships are just normal. It's not an issue. This is just what we do. And so just trying to get people to come out and say, okay, you need to be healthy first. We put in for a proposal last year and we got it. For the past 6 months, we have been going into public housing, I wanted to go to them, not have them worry about transportation, not parents say I can't bring them or whatever. So we actually partnered with the Brunswick Housing Authority, and every month, one Saturday out of the month, we went to Hopton Homes or McIntyre Court and tried to have these workshops with the children. We first put out information for teens, but a lot of them didn't show up because they wasn't gonna get up out of bed or whatever. And so we really just took the ones that came, and the 11-year-olds. We had 9, 10, 11-year-olds. And so what we did with them, instead of talking about the violence part of it, we focused on the self-love, just trying to get them to see what is healthy love, what does love even look like to them. And so a lot of times when we went and did our workshops, we did art activities, like we had someone donate us t-shirts. And so we would give them t-shirts and we would talk about love, what does that look like? Because my children growing up somewhere, that love may look different than someone growing up from, low income or in the situations, environment that they experience. And they would just, draw these pictures on these t-shirts and we would talk about them. I even we got a group of boys that started coming, and I tell y'all, they have energy out the world. So I kind of went on Facebook, was like, look, I need help. The community, especially men, if you can come out and just spend an hour with them, And so I had some men to come and they would sit down with them and talk about the t-shirt, talk about, what love was, what that meant to them. And so we did that for the past 6 months. But when I began to, never saw any parents, a couple would come by, but never really saw parents get involved or, ask them what they were doing or come and ask us what we were doing. So I said, I think we were kind of beating our head against the wall because the parents are the ones that need to know. They need to know what a healthy relationship looks like. So they can, give that and give that to their children. And so this time I wanted to come back to Brunswick Housing Authority and propose that we do our healthy relationship one-on-one classes with parents and offer that. And I wanted to make it available through Zoom, face-to-face, but I know a lot of, parents be like, I work, I don't have time, I got 3 kids, 4 kids, or whatever. But I would make it available virtually, like do a Google Meet, but then we would still meet. I wanted to do a 4-week session. That way they could come on every week, and also broke it up in sessions. Self-awareness would be the very first one, like I said, just self-management. What is a relationship? What do I want out of a relationship? Am I healthy? Am I eloping? What are some things I need to deal with? These are questions that as adults that we don't ask each other, ourselves. And so I believe, giving them the opportunity to learn and really understand themselves first and then go into relationships, that would help them understand the cycle that they're continuing. Why am I continuing doing these same things? I'm getting the same person, I'm getting in the same relationship, arguing about the same things. Why? And it all starts with us. And so I think if we can get them to have a healthy mind and a healthy sense of who they are, and then they can teach that to their children. So that's what I wanted to propose this time, to kind of work with the adults, male and females. I have done some of the residence meetings for Ms. Rutland or Mr. Williams or Mr. Jackson have asked me to come and speak. And a lot of them have been, I just kind of presented it to them and they were very interested in it. They were like, I will sign up. I'm finishing up a workbook. I am an author. I've published 14 books. And so I'm trying to finalize the workbook for the healthy relationship class, and they will actually have homework. I will be able to share different slides and things with them. But they were very interested in it, and even some men were like, can we participate? So I did 2 flyers. Ms. Curry, I sent them to you. I did 2 flyers, one for the men, or if you all just wanted to kind of focus on the women, or what did y'all think would be best kind of focus, because most of your residents are probably female. But I just think working with them, because they are the ones that will not go to a shelter. They're not going to a shelter. And even I'm gonna say in the Black community, we're not going to a shelter. We're not gonna go tell our business. We're not gonna go. We'll just deal with it. We're gonna be strong. We're gonna, work through it. We're gonna fight through it. But we need to understand that in order for us to be healthy and become a healthy community, we have to understand that healthy relationships is necessary. I mean, it's just necessary for the whole family to be healthy. So instead of going from the bottom, the children up, I think it'd be best if we work with the adults and let it trickle down that way. What I want to do, I plan on having a pre-test before, and that's just something to give them to see where they are and what their mindset is about relationships. And then after we go through 4 weeks, we'll have a post-test, and then kind of see the difference of what they learn and what they understand about, relationships. Because a lot of them, think that it's just, it won't happen to me. And I'm just a living, witness that it can happen in 20 minutes. Or it can be a 20-year period. But I just want to get to the point where I'm not going to candlelight visuals, and I'm not, we've even partnered with the Bahamas over in Nassau. I'm a partner with the Ministry of Education. We go into the schools twice a year over there, and we've been doing that for the past since 2017. So we go twice a year, we go into the schools, and we just talk about healthy relationships, because in their culture also, it's just normal. And so we have to get back to being healthy, and I think it'll help some of these other issues that we have also. So, that's pretty much it.
So, Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's breathtaking. Let me say this. It's unfortunate what happened to you, but I admire you for sharing your story, and I think it's necessary to have a program in housing authority because of the residents and the police report and the domestic violence that we get and the younger the children are getting. And we are looking for programs that would directly affect our residents. And you've been doing it so long. I've been to some of your programs and some of your events, and I think it's effective. And in the future, can we see some we approve you, can we see some of your stats, pictures, or whatever, or the people that went through?
Yeah.
We have a newsletter. Make sure those get in. What we want to do is showcase a program every month, different in the newsletter, and so show what you're doing and have some of that where you started and where you ended. And sometimes maybe you have somebody in here to present to say how it went, what they learned from.
That'd be great. I wanted to say, Ms. Curry, we did talk about it, but I didn't get permission from the parents for the pictures that we took, and that's the only reason I didn't, because I told I really had wanted to do a newsletter, and then I have some of the videos where we just asked, what did you learn today?
Right.
And some of them, what is love? And just to hear those boys talk about love and their family, and it was just one young lady, she did a picture. She came to everyone, this girl, London, I think her last name was London, and she came to every workshop. And one of my mom's friends was just visiting in Brunswick. She stopped by to tell my mom bye. And she drew this beautiful picture of a woman, and on the outside she had just words of love, and the lady bought it from her for $25. And she just could not believe that this lady was in. She said, "You're gonna buy my t-shirt?" And she said, "Yeah, and I want you to sign it," And I'm telling y'all, it just was. And so she came to every workshop, but it just showed her that we just took time with them,
Right.
So I really want to work with the adults and get them to understand, to think differently about relationships and who they should allow in their lives and what they should not allow, and it works. If we educate them, it will work.
On your line item sheet, you have 3,000 for rental buildings. You said you go into their homes and you meet with them. What other place do you gather as a group where you would rent this building?
I was trying to, when I got the proposal last year, it was agreed that I would be able to use the facilities for Brunswick Housing Authority. So when we went to Hopkins Homes, we used that side building, I think where the gathering place is. And then we used McIntyre Court, the building, the Boys and Girls Club. We used that maybe just a couple of times, but mainly I was at Hopkins Homes. I never was able to get a space, but what I did for this one, I've already asked I work for the school system too. I'm the transition specialist at the alternative school. And I've already asked Mr. Steve Waters, if I need a building, if I need a space, would I be able to rent? And he said yes, I think it was $125 whenever each time I would need it. So I still, but my thing was I didn't want to have to take them out of their surroundings.
Right.
I didn't want that to be a problem. I don't have transportation. I needed to work, Brunswick Housing Authority to help me with some kind of space.
Right.
On Saturdays, or that's why I thought about the Zoom might help, to be able to do it.
We might have.
So are you rotating Valerie to different sites on the Saturday?
That's what I was doing with the kids, yeah.
So it seemed like that would be the most effective way to get them out, and even the parents. You're gonna be working with the parents.
With adults, it's easier. They have one set space to go to, one set place to go to. If I said, if I got 10 adults that signed up, I want them to know, okay, we're meeting, this Saturday we're gonna meet at Risley Middle School. Then we're gonna do a Zoom, and then the next Saturday we're gonna meet. I don't wanna say we're gonna meet at Hopkins Homes, and then the next Saturday we're gonna meet at McIntyre Court.
Right.
And then,
Right. Be consistent.
No, I'm not saying that. I guess
Okay.
I was thinking youth program, but the adults. I agree. So the space at Glen Villa is not available. You may not know that, but
Okay.
staff may.
Let me ask you this, how many approximately, we have a building, remember Job Plus or the K-PAC office, because they're not gonna be there on Saturdays. Glenville, where Job Plus is, where Honey is, how many people, how many adults or residents come to approximately every time you have an event? When you talk to them one-on-one or group setting, what you talking about?
now with this my regular thing, I can have up to 30, 40 people
Okay,
on my regular, but with my council, I wanted to keep it to 10. I think I put in the proposal 10 to 10. Yeah. At least 10, because I want them to be, in those 4 weeks, I want them to be able to get what they need.
right.
And then we'll do another session, because I think I only did it for, instead of a year, I only requested for 10 months, because I figured the summertime with them, the kids being out,
Right.
not to try to do it during that time.
We'll discuss, because we have some place.
That's my only thing. I just
Right.
wanted to, if
And
it
then
was
we can
Flood
reduce-
Housing Authority residents, I wanted it to be where it was accessible for them.
So they don't have to travel.
Right.
Because if they
right.
have to travel, they're not
gonna
coming. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement with supporting this, so we may want to move on.
Yeah. So she could do it.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay.
We won't fight your face, but we'll
Okay.
fight some.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Our next presenter is Mr. Dolan, the Boys and Girls Club.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Brian Dolan. I've been the director of the Boys and Girls Club for next month will be 25 years here in Warren County. We have been a partner of the Brunswick Housing Authority for 43 years. Literally thousands upon thousands of Housing Authority kids have come through the Boys and Girls Club. Formerly Boys Club back in, I don't know, early 90s. Then it was Boys Club of Glen and Boys and Girls Club of Glen, now Boys and Girls Club of Southeast Georgia. Currently we're serving a very large population of Housing Authority kids, both directly in the complexes and also Section 8. We started age 3 with our early literacy and go all the way through 18 at the teen center. So we've had a very good relationship with the Housing Authority. It wasn't until this month last year that parent issues arose. But we've been very happy with the relationship, and I'm here to suggest that we continue to stay. We've got a lot of social equity within the Housing Authority, the parents, and it's just been a good relationship for 4 decades. So if y'all have any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer. But that's our current situation.
Mr. Dolan, right now, since you're not on our properties anymore, how has the transition from McIntyre Court to Rosemont have gone for the younger children right now?
Exceptionally well. Today, not including the early literacy program, there are on average 315 kids in there right now. Early literacy is averaging 77, so right at 400 kids are in Burroughs facility every day during the summertime.
That's the altogether of the teens and the younger ones?
No, teens are at the teen center.
Okay.
So the largest population of housing authority youth that we serve are at Burroughs Millette for literacy program, which is 3, 4, and 5 years old. And then our traditional Boys and Girls Club, which is also at Burroughs, which is now serving Glen Villa and McIntyre Court youth. And that goes up to 5th grade. And then we serve a population at Glen Middle School, and then they transition to the teen center. So we started age 3 and go all the way up to 18.
I know that over the months since you have not been on McIntyre Court, I have been stopped by many residents and everything, and they really miss the Boys Club being on that community. If we approve you, what can you do different going forward, and how can we bring you back and sustain our partnership with you? Because I know I apologize for the inconvenience that we had some months ago, and so
I personally believe that us being on property is the best thing for our family and our kids. We're a block off property now, and it's doing a really good job, but it's not on property. I don't know that there's anything that can be done. I mean, over the years, like I said, we've been partners for 43 years. We, as in Boys and Girls Club, built that park. We brought all the playground equipment there. We built the basketball courts. We did the walking track. We did the athletic field. We paid for that. We've asked to make renovations over the years and have been denied, and we understand the reason. But then last year it comes to us that we're not respectful of the property. In listening to the other conversations about gathering place and space and fixing their AC units, we were never awarded those conversations with fixing any of our stuff. We got what we got because we paid $1 a year. It's hard not to take the conversations that we had a year ago personally, because so much has been invested in housing. That's where we need to be. So
going forward, one of the conversations that we were having was who was responsible for the cleanup in the park and for the maintenance work in the building. Some of these new board members or whatever, so can you give us an update and let us know what you thought or how that arrangement was originally made?
I mean, it really doesn't matter now because we're not on the property, but our staff, my staff, was expected to pick up drug paraphernalia, liquor bottles, beer cans, trash from the park every day before we opened. I mean, really? I mean, that was the expectation of housing to us. So all the gambling that's going on for basketball games and the hordes of people that come to McIntyre Court on a nightly basis, our staff was expected to pick that up every day, and we did. We did it for a decade. So that was the expectation.
So did the contract originally say that housing authority will be responsible for that cleanup, and you will be responsible for that hours?
No, we took that on because when we built that park, we were taking ownership and trying to be a good community partner, and then it became expected that we maintain everything in the park. And that's in the past. Things are going exceptionally well serving housing authority in the Burroughs location.
So and now we did the part. So as far as the building, who's responsible for replacing the locks, the doors, the windows? What was housing's part and what was the Boys and Girls part of keeping up the maintenance?
We did, so we kept those buildings spotless. They were spotless when we used them. We inherited, I don't know how old those buildings are, but there hadn't been any renovations done in 40 years. They don't look like this, I can tell you that. And we were in there for 43 years, and there was never any updates. All the cleaning was done by us. If we were able to get Gerald out, we were last on the list. That's just how it was. I mean,
did y'all submit many requests to get the repairs done?
Always.
This I never heard. It didn't come across us about any maintenance issues or anything like that.
Yeah, we submitted maintenance requests for bullet holes in glass windows and metal doors that are the original metal doors from the building and the AC units. I don't know why that really matters any longer, but yes, we submitted requisitions on a regular basis.
So it matters because if we go forward and approve you, we want to have some kind of compromise and an understanding of who will be responsible for the cleanup and the repairs. And we would just like to be notified and continue with our partnership with y'all because like Ms. Williams said, it's easier to have those children on our community in order for them to get there. So the parents who don't have transportation, they won't have to travel far.
Totally understand.
And so, what other than the reading literacy, what other services do you provide to the children? Do y'all update your programs and services, see which one works better, which one doesn't, periodically?
So, every single day, around 16 to 1,700 kids are fed 2 meals a day, plus a snack during the summertime. That's every teacher work day, that's every vacation day. When school's not open, Boys and Girls Club is open. That's not every community, but that's how we've operated here. And we know that if we shut down, that parents are in jeopardy for their child. We know that. When COVID was here, the hospital came to us and asked that we remain open because otherwise they don't have the staff at the hospital to remain open. So we did. We feed kids every single day. Currently now we're open 10 hours a day during the summer, spring break, Christmas break, teacher holidays, teacher work days. Those are all 10-hour days. The kids get 2 meals plus a snack. And then during the school year, kids get a hot meal before they go home every single day. We do, our technology labs are top notch. Our staff are amazing. The program that we run is unparalleled. I know y'all got it out for bid, but there's nobody that can run the programs that we run or offer the programs that we offer on a daily basis. It's a huge job. Ty Wilson is the director. She has been for, I'm gonna say 15 years through McIntyre Court and now over at Burroughs, and she's probably the most amazing human I've ever seen in the way that she conducts her business on a daily basis. We have programs for early literacy, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. There's not another Boys and Girls Club in the country. And then we go all the way through 17, 18 to get them graduated high school and in the workforce. The majority of our kids we see from age 4 all the way till they're graduating. So we're with these families for 2 decades. The majority of the families that I know now, I started 25 years ago. Now it's their children that are coming best thing there is for the kids that live in housing.
So we have to move along, but if we do approve you, I would just like you to be more transparent in communicating with Brunswick Housing Authority and our interim ED, Ms. Jones, and her assistant ED, Ms. Sheffield. So if anything come up, we don't want to go through this again, because we never heard until that video happened. Commissioners, do y'all have any questions for Mr. Dolan?
Go ahead. I don't have any particular questions, but I am happy to show it back in front of us. I know the relationship got strained, and
Yes, sir.
we appreciate y'all's willingness to come back.
It's in the packet.
It's in the packet.
Yeah. I think, Brian, this is the.
My thoughts, during that time period, we was presented pictures in a presentation. Now, I believe in love, healing, and unity, but I would say what I took personally was the condition of that building at that time, and knowing the fact that children was in it. That's what I had took personally, but understanding now, according to what you're saying, that's facts. The administration, before the administration that came in, and you're saying that all this happened during this time, was good. Apparently, that administration wasn't sharing and wasn't ensuring that y'all had good relations as far as the building being maintained also. So I say this. I echo what Mr. Collins is saying, what Commissioner Collins and Commissioner Belly is saying on the relationship. I just hope that we never, if y'all ought to come back on the property, that we never experience that again. That's it.
That we have a clear transparency, and any issue arise or any damage, just let us know, because if we don't want to see what we've seen before. Wasn't that at a time where Glenville was closed? At a time there wasn't any teenagers in there when that video came out?
That's correct, but so is her name Joyce Cooper? Is that
Yes.
her name?
Yes.
She called me. I probably shouldn't share this, but she called me. She was very upset, crying, saying that she was made to do this, that she knows she lied. You can bring her in here if you want. That she knows she lied, that she was told she had to do what she did. So it is what it is. I don't know why all that went down. Our buildings are clean. Reggie Jackson right here worked with us for a long time. We've been in and out of McIntyre Court and Glenville on a regular basis. Our buildings were not dirty. Our buildings were clean and picked up every single day. So the pictures that y'all saw were actually damages that we turned in reports to housing to get fixed. That's all. It's in the past. It is what it is. So, and it's unfortunate.
And I agree with you, Brian. First, let me start out by saying I'm a product of the boys. Gary Rice. And so I totally support the concepts and programs for the Boys and Girls Club. And so my questions are around how do we build a stronger relationship that you all can be more successful, because I really think, and I think I hear it's being echoed by some of the commissioners, that you all hands were tied as far as, I mean, if you have a old floor I mean, you may clean it every day, but it doesn't look clean. If somebody take a picture of it, right? And I think that's what Commissioner Dickerson was saying, that the pictures that were taken, now, I don't know if Ms. Cooper was made to do that or whatever. And I believe you when you say you requested maintenance and upgrades and things. And let me ask you this, wasn't Angela Strickland on you all's board at one time?
For 20 years, yes.
For 20
Okay.
years?
Yes, ma'am.
And so that's not on you all. If you requested the upgrades and you made the best out of it that you could, that's really on the housing authority at the time, administration and board. I believe, this is coming from me. While if somebody walked into the facility of the bathroom, they could smell that you all mopped, kept it clean, but if they looked at it,
Yeah.
it would look like it was what it was. Oh,
60-year-old grout, 60-year-old tile.
exactly. And so so my thing is, and then the issue about you all having to pick up before, because that was always a question of mine, about how do you balance if it's a open park area and other people coming in at the time that you all have the kids out there. How did you all deal with that?
Well, we had times that we bring orange pylons out, and we would,
So kind of mark off the area where the kids were?
yeah. And then when all the basketball players would show up, we take everything inside and do all the programming inside. But summertime, it wasn't an issue until it gets dark or darker when it gets cooler. So that didn't impact us. But during the school year, there's a lot of people at nighttime, at nighttime. So most of the programming was done inside.
Yeah, and I think that we need to deal with that before we bring you all back in. Like I said, we need to really work on how do we bring you all in and it's successful for everybody, because that really is on the housing authority. You can't scrub away old stuff. It's gonna look like it's gonna look. So, but we'll take that in consideration. Now, my concern was the amount of children, because you do service a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And making sure that there is enough staffing to manage all of that. And I know, especially now, it's hard to get people.
Really difficult.
And Ty is my church member. So, and I've known her since she was a baby, just starting out in recreation.
So, you're exactly right. Staffing is a challenge right now. 3 years ago, we're paying staff $8 to $10 an hour. Now we're paying staff $15 to $20 an hour. Our standards have long been that we keep a 1 to 25 staff to child ratio, unless it's a field trip or a water day where it's much higher ratio per child. Industry standards have changed for the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, so now the expectation is that it's a 1 to 20 staff to child ratio. So we're paying a lot more for staff, which are no better staff, we're just paying them more. And then our ratios are much lower. So
To service that many kids.
to service that many kids, we have to have that many staff.
Yeah,
And we do. It is a huge challenge right now with staffing, but I think we finally have seen the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're getting better staff, and most of which are education majors from the college, which has become a huge help. But the fact remains that staff has gone up as far as the cost per staff, and then the amount of staff that we have is going way up because the staff to child ratio is going down. And then when we work with our 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, it's more like 1 to 12. So, you know, those numbers are 1 to 7. So our numbers are in line with any school district or other child care agency out there.
And you all have to do 1 to 7 for that?
For 3, 4, and 5-year-olds.
Oh, man, that is a major challenge.
Yeah, and that's all being done currently at Burroughs Millette, and Jasmine, the director there, she's amazing too. So, you know, the services that we provide, I'm confident are top notch. You know, for us to have a 4-decade partnership with y'all to go down the drain, I would hate to see that happen. But also, 40 years, there's not been one lawsuit that has included Brunswick Housing Authority ever.
And I just want to say that I've been on this board this month for 3 years. Never once have I heard or seen a maintenance from the Boys and Girls Club to get repaired. So.
Yeah, and that's not on them. That's
right.
Really on the housing authority. And to have a
she's
board
not
member.
right. She's not here anymore, but I know that the former maintenance man, Mr. Gallego, and we would go at it because I've often asked for maintenance reports or follow-ups and things like that, which never came through. So we're just here to get you back. And
well,
so can you tell us real quickly some of the repairs that needs to be done off the top of your head? We will have some maintenance go in there and assess it.
Roof, ceiling, floor, bathrooms.
Yeah, I want to put that on him. I think we need to work that out and work with them to work out a process that I think we're all in agreement about how to build a successful platform for them to come back.
Right.
And I don't want him to put him on the spot.
No, but just basically give us some idea where to start at, where to go with. Yeah.
I mean, I think if you look at other housing authorities across the country, many of which have relationships with Boys and Girls Clubs, there's gymnasiums attached, there's, you know, more space available. You know, we were fortunate that we had the space of the park. But if we really want to be more impactful, you know, maybe we find a way to build a larger facility that can hold more kids and provide more activities. You know, I know we would entertain some type of joint fundraiser or whatever it would take to be a true partner with y'all. It's, you know, I think it's facility issues more than anything, or space issues more than anything. But that's where we're at.
Commissioner, should I have any other questions for Mr. Dole?
Just maybe for Mr. Dole, maybe for Mr. Jackson, but tell us about the amount that y'all are looking to get and how that's different from previous years.
So the amount is $400,000, and that averages out to about $1,333 per child per year. We're open 52 weeks a year. We very rarely close. Our biggest expenditure, as you'll see in that budget, is staffing. That doesn't change. That's always going to be our biggest expense because our kids, our staff work directly with kids 10 hours a day currently. You know, you got 2 weeks over Christmas, you got spring break, you got winter break, you got all that time. Those are 10-hour days. And then we're open 10 hours every time school is out of session. And then we're open every day in between that. So, you know, that's the biggest expense. Like I said, it averages to be about $1,333 per child. a good number to be at is, when I look at numbers from other communities, is between $1,800 and $2,000 per child per year, and we are far less than that. So, there's no fluff in our budget whatsoever. I don't have a secretary, never have had a secretary. There's not a secretary in our organization. We have zero fluff in our organization. When I say zero, I mean zero. There are 2 people that don't work with kids, and that's myself and our resource development person. Everybody else that is on staff are assisting in driving buses on a regular basis, running their facilities, cleaning up at the end of the night. So there's zero fluff, and that's as accurate as I can explain it.
The amount, Brian, per participant, is that just the housing authority kids, or that's all your kids?
So on this budget, that is just housing authority kids, and that is at Teen Center, Burroughs, Early Literacy, and Glen Middle. Those 4 locations.
Okay.
What was the contract amount last year?
123,000, and it was 123,000 probably
That just got
for,
renewed over and over and over.
I'm gonna guess for 30 years, if not more. It was the same 123,000. We never came back to housing and said we need more money. We've never done that. As inflation has gone on for the past 30 years, we never came back to this group and said we need more money. But now inflation is crazy, out of control, and to provide the best services, that's what we need.
I just want to speak as a resident and a parent of a child that goes to the Boys and Girls Club. This number is astronomical, given the fact that we still pay the weekly fees during the summer. We pay for the whole summer like $275, and then the field trips that they do take is $35 here, $25 there.
So let me answer that real quick. When we put this together, we were told by staff that was the number if residents don't pay. Okay, so you wouldn't be paying out of pocket. The only out of pocket that you would have would be for the additional field trips that you would want to send your children on. So it wouldn't be a weekly fee.
So that explains a lot of the increase that we're looking at. All right.
Thank
I
you.
have a question. And how many children are you servicing? Is it so all of the children that you have at that particular facility are all housing children, or?
No. So we have 12 locations in Glenn County. We have housing children and parents probably at all 12 locations. Whether they live in Section 8 or they live at Hopkins Homes or Burroughs at McIntyre Quarter, Glenville, we don't necessarily know which ones are housing residents until we put a roster together with their addresses, and then housing staff had to go through like 3,000 names and verify which ones are just live on campuses and not even Section 8, just live in the on site. So
So you, Brian, you all are not able to capture that through your application process?
a lot of residents are very transitional.
Thank you.
Through our application process, some will say put on there a street, but they won't put Hopkins Homes or McIntyre Court. It's challenging. It truly is to know exactly which kids are coming from housing and which ones aren't.
So I guess that question is because if we pay this money, we're only paying for public housing as Section 8 children. And so we ask all our other summer programs and after school programs people
Yeah.
to give us the communities they live in. So Mr. Jackson, so you can see.
So what has happened?
Okay, let me finish. Just so that we can know that we're paying for public housing in Section 8 residents opposed to outside children.
Yeah,
So can you do it on their application? If they don't want to do it, then, but this is how we can keep account of what we're paying
yeah,
for.
so we would have to have a better relationship with somebody from housing because once you say free,
Right,
everybody lives in housing then,
right,
right?
right,
Because everything's free.
right.
So there's got to be a way that we can cross-reference families that actually stay in housing versus the ones that live on Albany Street.
That's right,
You know what I mean?
that's right.
And that's what we're doing since they collect the process was sent via Rossi and they were verified. Through the communities, was already working at for public housing. And since then, it ranged between 100 and 130,000 for public housing. The original contract was free for after school, but they did have to pay for membership, one-time fee, and in the summertime they had to pay just $20. But of course they had to pay for the extra field trips. So when the review committee looked at the proposal, they looked at what was paid prior, which was 123, and we got what residents got for 123, and they decided said we can do 100 scholarships broken down in different clubs that are residents attend, and they go from there. And next year we can look at proper ad. Getting into the Section 8 thing, that's something that's kind of hard to get from the parents. Because we had an address, we can look it up, but just trying to conquer public housing is what that contract was really.
But now you have, we have to find a way because we have outreach center, and like I said, we have summer camps and after school programs, and they target who comes out of housing or who comes out of Section 8. So we just want to be mindful that we know that we're just paying Boys and Girls Club.
Totally understood.
Yeah.
I think we can work this out.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Jackson, Ms. Jones, I would suggest y'all just get with Brian and figure it out so then we can put together a contract.
But also to him proposal, he wasn't planning to use any of the buildings.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't want to bring them back in until we work that out. So that's going to be a longer term thing that we have to deal with in the short term. But the short term piece is making sure that we get the work out a way to know which one of our kids that they are servicing so that they can have an accurate amount that we can pay for the kids and make sure that our families don't have that burden.
Right.
It might be as simple as some type, let's just say it's 200 scholarships. Or 300
That's what it said. It breaks down the scholarship for the different units that our residents go to. For example, Roseman, ELA, which is all houses,
Okay.
So I think there's a way.
It's a way.
I mean, if Hopkins Homes has 50 scholarships and Glenvilla has 75 scholarships and McIntyre Court, which is probably the most, would have 150 scholarships, then we would know that they've already been approved through housing and then only these kids.
Right. Right.
And so we're giving our residents new options. So you got a soccer, you got Bible, because everybody specializes differently. And it gives you options to explore.
Well, but fiscally, we need to balance that with those options
Yes.
so that we're not duplicating the pay because we can then service more kids that way. So,
Thank you, Mr. Dolan.
Thank you. Appreciate
Good
you.
to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see y'all too.
All right. Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of the RFPs presented to the board that will be required. So do we have everybody here?
You the chairman.
That's just how it comes out. 5 minutes recess, please. If I take longer than 5 minutes, come by.
Be nice if we had snacks.
I know.
Yeah. What's up with that?
Some sound. Yo, Miss Curry,
They gotta approve it. That's F-124, gives you the overview of what they're asking for and how much.
On
This right here.
Everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, stretch a little bit. Get that. Joints start sticking together.
Yeah, stretch a little bit.
Residents and work with them.
But it was all 30 minutes and a half.
That's the only thing you do.
That's what that company was in. And it's, that company sold it. So now.
Oh, you all sold it?
Yeah, it's gonna be, yeah, it's gone. Sold just as carriers.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
So what kind of law do you use?
Well, I started another technology company. I actually started this, I got the short-term all through the South. I practice a lot of law for free. I'm general counsel. I've got to deal with every county's got their
So
own.
more corporate law?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, I got you.
I still do some litigation.
Okay.
I keep a case or two going every now and then.
Yeah, well.
This has a summary of all the meetings. And I don't know if you sat through any of those presentations or not, but you may be familiar. Yeah, that was a marathon. We can't do that again, I'm sorry.
Really stand by the 5 minute time.
Yeah, I think we can, there's another process we might have.
What?
They go through that department.
Which one?
It was 11, yeah.
Oh, God.
I didn't get home till about 10:30 at night.
But I think
I knew I
when we
skipped
do the-
that one.
I think when we do the audit, pretty much we just, there are items of what we want, the 9 items, which we do the fund, who's on the board, that can be done in 5 minutes, yeah.
That must have been the meeting when I was supposed to land at 4 p.m. in Jacksonville and landed at 5:30.
Oh, that was an adventure.
I would have rather been here till.
Our guys are back.
Yeah, they were out of town. Ms. Williams was
Back
out
until 11 o'clock. That was 11 o'clock.
Are we live streaming these meetings?
I think that's what I understand. Is that right, Ms. Curry?
I don't think this one is. I think they're only live streaming the board meetings.
Okay.
Not the work sessions. But I can check with Bradley to find out this is good.
But the recorded meeting still goes.
We're still recording, yes, sir. They're not live streaming, right?
So now Mr. Jackson is on. Okay, all right, let's start. The approvals of the RFPs presented to the board, a vote is required. Start off with Little Promise Keepers, Cherie Lackey Gardner.
You know, we need more child care providers, I think. So I don't, I would be ready to make a motion that we approve this.
Second.
And what's the budget?
I'm sorry. This is a voucher for that.
I just
So we-
Okay, so just whoever, one of our kids,
It's a process they have to do for the voucher. And the voucher, value at $75, and the parents pay the difference of $30.
If
But we are still looking for.
Yeah, we have RFP out right now for childcare.
Okay.
If you know anyone, just tell them to apply to it. We have to extend it right to August 1st. We have about 3 people sitting next to it. So, we have to extend it.
Any other questions on Little Promise Keepers, commissioners?
So I restate my motion to
Wait,
approve.
can we put it out first? Okay, so now we're going to, I will call for a motion on Little Promise Keepers. I will call for a motion.
Can I talk?
Can I do what I need to do? I will call for a motion.
I move, Madam Chair, that we approve Little Promise Keepers as presented.
And hearing the first, do I hear a second?
Second.
And hearing the first and second, all in favor, say aye. So opposers have the same. Hearing none, that motion carries. Next up is UGA, Michelle May and Suzanne Walker.
Madam Chair, since this is not costing us anything, it's actually us partnering with the University of Georgia Extension Service, I move that we approve this program as presented.
And hearing the first, do I hear a second? Second. The first and second. And hearing the first and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The opposers have the same. Hearing none, that motion carries. Next one on here is Bible Way International, Rosemary Woods. Any questions about this summer camp, commissioners? All right.
Yeah, there's a little bit of food that is virtually back to
Okay. All right. And so I will call for a motion to approve Bible Way International.
Madam Chair, I offer a motion to approve Bible Way International as presented to be retroactive to July 1.
And hearing the first, do I hear a second?
Second.
And hearing the first and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The opposers have the same. Hearing none, that motion carries. Communities in schools. Commissioners, y'all have any conversation about communities in schools?
The only question I have is that we talked about it in the meeting. Have they given you a plan, Reggie, on dealing with the fact when they don't have staff and we're still providing that
That's
salary?
something that can be addressed if y'all approve in the MOU, stating if this person is not in position, notify us immediately. It's not paying, it's we're paying for that salary. We can determine the situation.
Okay.
Now, I have a question, but I'll let all of y'all speak first. Commissioner Booker?
Yeah, no, I was worried that the amount was my concern. And, try to separate this.
It's $142,800.
I think the committee recommended $100.
$50,000 per student.
Now, commissioners, y'all have anything to say before I say something about communities in school? My only issue with community in school is I want to see a comparison of what the guidance counselors does, what the parents thing does, and what community in schools does. Because if they're doing all the same thing, we don't need to be paying all this money for different people in division to do certain things. Now, when they came before us during COVID, they were giving out laptops. They were making sure that where the communities, public housing communities didn't have Wi-Fi, that the kids got Wi-Fi, they got food and everything like that. They did not come and present like that this time. And so to give them $142,800 just to talk to the children, do what the other guidance and the other parent teachers are doing, we need to make a comparison because we don't want to be paying for duplication.
What they do is a little bit more deep than guidance counselors. They do it more on group level. You got one guidance counselor person, So they
You got them for grade level.
No, not in elementary.
Okay.
So they go a little bit in more detail on the social part within during school. All this stuff is taking place during school. Something that affects their well-being. They can go ahead and have a remedy for that. But what has happened and what you all can change, if you approve it, you can tell them they're going to need information that we're going to need information that they will have to ask for consent to release information. The parents, everyone that signs up for it, asking for consent so we can get those addresses and information that we need to find out if they're serving our children. That's something they didn't have, they could not afford that.
Right, but other than that, I'm talking about their everyday. I don't think paying that because they did a lot of donations. Rosamond Neck gets a lot of donations from a lot of other places.
That's right.
And so I would like to see a synopsis of what the guidance does, what the parent, what they do, and how they fit in. So because if they talking all the same thing, we can lower the amount and see, and they say they send in stats every month of what they doing and how many. So I just want to see the comparison. If y'all agree, we can motion to hold off on this until we see a comparison of what the other. They can tell us what their job is. We asked them for that, but the other ones weren't here. Just communities and schools were here.
Yeah, I have to abstain. My niece works for them, so I'm abstaining.
You see, they're in the process of interviewing staff for what
I understand all that, but I'm just saying the money that we're paying for community and schools, they're not really giving us service that I see that amounts to this kind of figure. And they have other staff members doing similar, the same thing.
not at that. Guidance counselor is not doing it.
Can I see it for myself? Commissioners?
I asked my question.
I guess my only thought on this one is, it sounds like there's some moving parts to this, so I'm fine with the amount or the recommended amount. I think Communities and Schools does a great job of supplementing the school system, but I would like to see a proposed MOU that accounts for some of these variables that we're talking about, like the staff actually being there and requiring the permission. Make sure they're okay with that too.
And I think what you're saying, Mr. Jackson, is making sure they're servicing our kids.
What level, they can tell us at different levels of their service. And also too, they have any transaction with staff, even schools, money can stop until it comes back. And they will be reported every month in order to get
Like a good idea, that really just proposed. Definitely want to know how many of our students are being serviced at the location and what are they actually providing for them. It's just the guidance counselor, but if it's more in depth, we can see that.
We gonna table this until we get some more information in comparison of those different positions, and then we'll come back.
Or there a motion that includes Alderman Johnson?
I would like the motion that we approve it with the adjusted MOU that we just discussed. That's my motion.
So I will call for. So let's do this. So we're gonna call for the motion to approve it. If we get the information that we need to compare. So what do we? So we approve it now, and the guidance and the parent-teacher thing, the other thing that they talked about. If it's similar, you can't come out to vote because we already passed it. If they have similar duties.
I think what they're saying is that based on what Mr. Jackson is telling us, that we're gonna know that they're servicing our kids. We're not gonna be paying for staff that they don't have in
Right.
place. And I think that's the major concerns, because if they are supplementing, the guidance counselors at these schools, then that's a need in the school system. And especially, you know, with our kids, and after COVID, a lot of our kids are behind.
How many do they have? How many do they have?
Well, they haven't been required to produce those numbers, but we're saying, we believe in the program, but we want to make sure, based on Mr. Jackson's recommendation, that we're going to have more accountability for them. And I think that's what the motion is.
Okay.
Yes, that's the motion.
And so,
Alright.
so if we draft the MOU, it'd be $100,000,
50 for each school.
50 for each school monthly, but they'd have to submit these reports on a monthly basis. Students served, number of students served, and services provided. And if they don't submit those monthly reports, then there wouldn't be a
Okay.
payment on the 50,000 for each one.
I will call for a motion for,
I think they've already made it.
no, what hit me? I didn't do my thing. Was it second made?
Ms. Hayes.
Okay. Well, hearing the first and the second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposers have the same?
I abstain.
All right, so that vote carries 3-1, 4-1.
No,
4-0.
4-0, 4-0. Thank you.
One extension.
4-0, one extension. Thank you. The next one up is Youth Enrichment Learning Center. Anybody have any questions about Youth Enrichment Learning Center?
I think it's a good program. And I would, let's see, the review committee recommended approval for 30 kids. I think they gave us a budget for different numbers of
Right,
kids.
so we
We're gonna just
Stick
look
to
at
the
the 30.
mhm.
So I make a motion that we,
I will call for a motion.
can
For me.
I
Yeah.
talk now?
But you keep going ahead of me, Commissioner Booker.
Madam Chair, you don't have to call for a motion. You can just make a motion.
Can I please do like I want to do?
Yes, ma'am. That's
Thank
why
you.
I asked you, can I
Yeah.
talk, ma'am?
Yeah, okay, go be the details, okay?
Okay.
All
But,
right.
Madam Chair, I offer a motion to approve Youth Enrichment Learning Center for 30 children.
And here in the first, do I hear a second?
Second.
And here in the first and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I oppose.
So 4-1.
That's 4-1. Next is Coastal Outreach Soccer. Any questions about Coastal Outreach Soccer with Sean Williams? Any discussion? If no discussion, I will call for a motion.
Madam Chair, I offer a motion to approve Coastal Outreach Soccer as presented.
And here in the first, do I hear a second?
Second.
And here in the first and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The opposers have the same. Hearing none, that motion carries. The next up is Safe Harbor Street Beat, Jeff Clark. I will call for a motion. Any questions first? I'll take that back. Any questions first on Street Beat, Commissioners?
Madam Chair, if no other discussion, I offer a motion to approve Safe Harbor Street Beat as presented.
And here in the first, do I hear a second?
Second.
And here in the first and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The opposers have the same. Hearing none, that motion carries. The next up is Pace Estelle Dior Enterprise LLC. Do we have any comments on this?
I do not. If there are no other discussion, I will, let's see. I will offer a motion to approve Estella Dior Enterprises LLC PACE to be approved as presented.
Second.
In hearing the first and second, all in favor say aye.
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 I oppose. That's 4-1.
So, let me see here.
The next, she did not present pearls, and plus, she did not present pearls that day. She only present PACE. And the cost for both of these will be $80,000.
No. That's,
You had 30,000 for PACE and 50,000 for pearls.
PACE, that's your budget you have for PACE. Pearls was gonna be presented, but I didn't present.
Say that again?
I did not present pearls.
I know that. I said that. You presented PACE.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
PACE was 30,000 and pearls was 50,000.
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
What,
This
what,
was,
oh, for the implementation for both?
no, just for one.
pearls.
Okay.
We're not doing the second one, we'll do the first one.
The,
Let me
well,
see what you have, Mr.
right, so we're clear, because,
Oh, she talking about the amount of people. Oh, yes, ma'am, I'm fine. Let's see.
the committee, the review committee, recommended approval.
For what?
For, I'm talking about, we're on Pearl, right?
No, yeah, but she didn't present pearls. We did PACE. I don't agree with paying $80,000 for two programs.
Well, hold on a minute. Go ahead.
Okay.
Mr. Joe.
But you was reading the recommendation from the review committee. You was reading that.
Right. That, it says approval pending on the success of the PACE program. If PACE program is approved. What, so,
So
explain
the
that.
approved PACE program, the success of that, gives you an opportunity to come in and present the Pearl program. So if the PACE is not successful, there's no need to address the Pearl, because they feed off one another. We just add another variable, which is the daughters are coming, the girls are coming in.
So the recommendation from the committee is to just wait and see how the PACE goes. And then she could come back to us for, how long are we gonna look at this? Is this for a year or
It's a
6
year,
months?
I think her, was one of the reasons why, because Pearl was bleeding into 2025 fiscal year. So everything would have to be adjusted to meet, the fiscal 24 year if we also decide to do it. So our whole proposal would be a little bit different because of the time frame.
Well, let me recommend this, because we really need, I go back to the report we got from juvenile. And so, any positive program that we can bring into our clients, I want us to do that. Why don't we give her an opportunity to come back in 6 months with the Pearl program and look at where we are. And then we can reconsider that.
Why can't we just wait, do this PACE program for 1 year? Because this is, she said, let me finish, she said this was international, but the stats locally, she has not been operating this. And so we'll see how she does
He
with
has been
PACE.
operating for
Because the
7
pearls are the children, PACE are the adults.
My point is not so much waiting to see again.
We already did their presentations. We already did that.
Can I
for the
finish?
year.
Can I
Yeah, you
finish?
can finish, but we already did the presentations for the year.
No.
But we already did presentations for the year.
But-
We only did Love Smart and Boys Club because they wasn't here for the presentation.
But the authority, but as a commission, we can have a presentation every time we meet if we want. That's not a.
You
a
gave
big
her a
deal.
chance to present that day and she walked off. And so the deadline for presenting was June the 1st.
Anyway, we're getting sidetracked on that. My
All right.
point is, we've had a horrific, I think, juvenile report from our KPAC office.
Right.
Any programs that are positive for our children, I think we need to look at and invest in that.
But
So I'm saying that right now, let's, as Mr. Jackson has said, that the program we've already approved feeds into this program. Let's give her a chance, not for her program per se by itself, but for us, our children.
So-
Let her come back in 6 months and see where she is and see where we are.
We're not doing anybody else to come back in 6 months, Commissioner
But-
Booker. She had 2 different programs. One was for adults and one was for children. One was 30,000, one was 50,000. And like I said, her,
But anyway, we can put this to a vote. My
we already
thing,
voted on PACE.
we can
Yes.
I can make a motion for us to
You
vote on
can,
anything.
Let
She
me call
wasn't
it.
allowed to finish her presentation that day.
Say what?
She wasn't allowed to finish her
Exactly.
presentation that day. Everybody else went over the 5 minutes and they were asked questions and everything. She was, in my opinion, rushed.
She,
So I
well,
don't
Miss
think she got
Commissioner
that
Booker,
opportunity.
Right.
Commissioner Booker said to her that she already took up more than 5 minutes, and he did say you can go on and do your pearls, but she sat down.
To allow
It's
her to
on the-
come back
it's
in
on the
6
video.
months wouldn't hurt her.
So it sounds like we're not ready to move forward with Pearls either way, and I think regardless, we would need to open up a new RFP, right?
No,
You all don't have to.
we don't have to do that. I don't think. Anyway,
Well,
that's
I
being
guess I don't
discussed.
understand how do we get to,
You all can approve these MOUs, I mean, these are RFP at any time you want to fiscal year.
We can
She made-
entertain unsolicited proposals.
Yeah.
That's not it's not just a season for RFPs. And my point is again that it's our children that need the services. And we have providers that we think are positive. Obviously, we think that she has something positive to get. We just approved her for another program.
Y'all
So,
approved her.
right.
And we seen,
And-
and
and-
I seen,
And that's fine.
I seen her program, and like I said before, we had a deadline. It was June the 1st. The RFPs were sent out. They had enough time to bring their things together. And like I said, you gave her time to continue on, and she didn't continue on. So she is in the door with PACE. So what we'll do is, she's gonna give us stats every month like everybody else. And then when we come back again, we can do it again next year.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Point of information, the committee shows that she had everything turned in time, and the committee made a decision based on these facts. So that's just point of information.
And plus, the point I am making is for our children, our families, and I'm making this recommendation, and I'm gonna make a motion, and it could die for lack of a second.
Right.
But I'm gonna make this motion that, on Pearl, we, we review her proposal in 6 months based on what's happening with PACE, and see if we want to entertain a MOU with her at that point.
Commissioner Booker, I do not want to interfere and do that, because see, if we do that now, then something else is gonna come up. Can't we just follow the protocol?
This is the
and do-
protocol,
No,
Madam Chair.
No, she had a chance to continue that day, and she didn't, Commissioner Booker. And so, and listen, and if we going forward to do things correctly and do things right.
This is not out of order. We can ask the attorney right here. I made a motion. It's been properly
But I didn't
seconded.
put it out because
You don't have to-
you
you
keep
don't-
going ahead of me, but in proper
We don't have to wait on, if we're discussing an item, we can decide if we want to make a motion. Again, it can die if I don't get a second. Then explain to us what the proper protocol for Robert's Rules of Order with this. Can we not make a motion on things that are before us?
Yes, sir, you can make motions.
And that's where we are with this. Now, you don't have to vote for it,
I know I don't, but I don't know why.
but you can't stop,
but I don't
you can't
know why
stop a
but
commissioner
I-
from making a motion on it for it to be approved or denied.
But that's true too, but I don't think it should be put on the floor. I don't think it should be put on the floor, Commissioner Booker.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah,
You
but-
don't have to, you don't have to agree with that.
But listen, we already, that's not fair. We already put it on the floor.
It's
We already
out of
did.
order for a commissioner to make a motion on something that's before us.
It's not
Now-
out of order. it's not an our order to do that, but it's our order of what you want to do and what program.
The
you want
rest
to
of
put on
us
the
will
floor.
obviously want to do this
And
because
plus
we
a lot of
voted for
things,
it.
and plus a lot of things that she is presenting is already happening in other self-sufficiency programs. So it's just a regroup. And we said we weren't going to have so many programs doing the same thing. And so we dealing with, so that's that. I mean, we could put a motion on the floor, but I
The
don't think
motion is on the
this-
floor, so you have to carry it to the vote.
I call for a motion that we table pearls.
You have to take this motion through to this completion. You cannot have a motion over
Well,
one that's
I will
already
call
out
for a
there.
motion on the pearls program.
You cannot do that, Madam Chair.
Say what now?
You cannot do that. That's
Do what?
out of order. We have a motion on the floor. You have to finish that.
And, okay, but you
It's
keep
been
going.
properly seconded. You have to take it through to a vote.
Okay, I'll take it through. And hearing the first and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The opposers have the same. Aye. And that vote carries 3-2.
No, he abstained.
Oh,
He did not
3,
vote against.
okay. 41.
3-1 with
3 to
1
1.
abstention.
3 to 1. Okay, next up is Safe Harbor and family. So let me go back again. So with that motion that we just passed, y'all saying that she comes back in 6 months.
After a review by the staff of the program. Yeah.
All right, next up is Safe Harbor and Family Preservation, Leslie Hartman. Any discussion on Safe Harbor and Family Preservation? I will call for a motion.
I move, Madam Chair, that we approve Safe Harbor Family Preservation Program to be approved as presented.
And here in the first, do I hear a second?
Second.
And here in the first and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The opposers have the same. Hearing none, that motion carries 5-0. Next. Okay. The next, any discussion on Community First Planning Commission?
I have to abstain, because I am part of this.
I have to abstain as well because I'm a board member.
This Community First Planning, it was said that it started in 2022, and she said that she was going to do environmental, a Shark Tank type thing to get residents to develop entrepreneur, but I don't think that this program is conducive to what we want to do with our residents. We have many environmental programs around Brunswick. We have DNR. We have Commissioner Booker has one, and so I think that this won't be a place for in-house for our residents. But I will call. If anybody else has to say on it, but I will call for a motion.
Well, let me push back on that a little bit. None of these other groups are working, playing directly with our families. And with climate change and all these things that are going on, with the new Biden administration pushing for reducing your carbon footprint, nobody's talking to low-income families for solutions. And that's the difference in this. Nobody is really doing that. And that's what this is. And it's doing it under the guise of helping to promote entrepreneurship. None of these other programs that we've approved or looked at as dealing with entrepreneurship. And this is full entrepreneurship, full back office, helping them to, from the beginning, from an idea up into actually helping them get grants and loans for businesses. And afterwards, to help them with marketing, accounting, and all of these things. There's nothing else like this really in the county.
My issue with this also is that you're on the board, Commissioner Booker's on the board, you're on our finance subcommittee, and I believe that's a conflict of interest. And plus also, the environment, we can have those things at the resident empowerment. I don't think $74,000 if we don't even have residents lined up or waiting list to do this program. And like I said before, it's in the environment. Discussions, they have town halls, Panova, UGA is out here. So I think this is just another environmental group that it's not necessarily going to help our residents be successful. We have a lot of programs where they can go get money if they want to be take up a skill or do small businesses or things like that. So I think it's a conflict of interest on many levels.
Well, first of all, I push back strongly about it being a conflict of interest. That's why we're abstaining from voting on it. It's not a conflict of interest if, unless we continue to vote on something that will benefit us. And let me finish. So to even bring that up, I find offensive. Two, our Ms. Tompkins is already working with a number of our clients who have businesses in their homes. They're baking, they're making jewelry, they're doing hair, they're doing all kind of things. But in order for them to become legitimate, they have to go through a process, and they're frightened of that because they don't want to be kicked out of housing if they show this extra income. This is a process that will help them legitimize and solidify extra income for them as they go through this process of legitimizing this effort. Entrepreneurship is not being done by anybody else. Now, fine, you can vote against it, but to say that these other groups are doing that, that is totally incorrect. Nobody else is doing that with our families at all.
So
and they're barely doing it in the community. They know nothing about the Small Business Development Center.
So
they know nothing about CADA that offers loans for them. They know nothing about even going to the business or the county to get a business license. This is what will help them legitimize that process. So fine, vote against it, but don't say that it's being done just because there are other environmental groups. Green businesses is the way of the future. The Biden administration has over $7 billion of funding out there around this issue. This is helping our families move into what is now, and there are plenty of opportunities for these families and to help them move out. You talk about self-sufficiency, this is it on the front lines.
But once again, this is it's been around. It's not enough stats for us to.
There are tons of stats. You don't know.
Listen, you don't have enough stats. This is a startup program. It just started in 2022, so it's not enough stats to say who went through it, who got a job development or their business or whatever, and $74,000. Community First is giving money from different organizations, and like I said, we're not paying for someone to do a startup. We want people to come in who has already have status.
So you've never done that before?
Status in the.
So the housing authority has never done
Don't you say to me, I'm talking now. Okay, and so we never had stats. We don't have stats to show where you started out, where you ended at $74,000, and how many other environmental organizations are you on, Commissioner Booker?
What does that got to do with anything?
And plus you're on the Board of Commissioners.
What does that got to do with anything?
Because you didn't bring EJAP here.
What are you talking about?
The environmental group that I was on with you over there in Albany.
What are you talking about? This is something totally different.
But this is a startup, and it's $74,000, and we can do something else with that money. And like I said, it's a conflict of interest.
It is not a conflict of interest.
Because you and Commissioner Dickerson is on that board.
It's not a conflict of interest. You can't keep saying that something is a conflict of interest when it's not.
Do you think
the
it's
only
a
thing
conflict?
I'm going to say is they have abstained from voting.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of you can carry your opinion in your vote.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it carries or not, that's up
to the rest of everybody? Commissioners, y'all have anything to say?
How many participants is this accounting for?
20. They're looking for 20 residents. And Charlene Tompkins, yeah, she's in Love Smart too.
I think it's a good proposal, but I'd like to look at it a little bit more before we take action. So I would recommend that we table it until the regularly scheduled meeting.
So do we have to do a motion on tabling it? No? Okay. Next, Love Smart, Valerie Williams. Any questions? If there's no questions, I will call for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve Valerie Williams Love Smart as presented.
Second.
And hearing first and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The opposers have the same. Hearing none, that motion carries. Next up is the Boys and Girls Club with Brian Dolan. Any other further discussion on the Boys and Girls Club?
I do not like the price at all.
Say what now?
I do not like the price for the budget at all. Even though he said what he said, I have an experience personally at the Boys and Girls Club. And the hot bill after that don't happen. Bread, some kind of meat in it, it's not hot. Field trips are overly expensive. The kid to teacher ratio is not there. There's a lot of bullying going on. For that price.
I wish we had said something when we was here so we could address those, but if we do pass them, we can address those things again in the MOU and make sure that.
Yeah, I would defer this. I think to address Commissioner Hayes' concerns. I mean, you all know, again, product of the Boys Club. I have to say that because it was a difference.
Right.
And so if we can, I think we can utilize the service, but I do think accountability to speak to, which is probably why certain comments were made in private to people that became public, just on those concerns there. Because I've heard this over the years, just what she just said.
And didn't he say that he didn't ask for an increase for the time that he was over here from that 120,000? And then if we do get this 400,000, y'all gonna pay out your pockets and
I just don't need it.
well, we can ask, we can go over this and go over, yes.
But let's follow.
I'm okay with approving for last year's budget. We'll go ahead and approve that, but not for,
So
especially when we don't know how many kids are being serviced exactly.
So let's bring him back and have that and ask him, you know,
Let's see what Mr. Jackson may have.
and that was concerned.
What the review committee looked at all that. We also took a conversation that you all had with him for staff to work with him in reference to some type of scholarship. That's what was said before we left.
And so the scholarship would take care of the cost of them in the Boys and Girls Club where she won't have to pay out her pocket. Exactly.
That's the recommendation.
But I think she's also talking about the service.
Yeah.
She's
Right.
talking about a hot meal.
Yeah.
Right.
She's saying that doesn't happen.
That's no issue. For what I do know, that is provide food for not may not be hot at the time to receive it, but it's supposed to be hot. We can address those concerns, bullying, the food service ratio. That stuff, ratio definitely has to be in the food can be in the MOU as well. Food, everything that we said. Bullying is an ongoing issue at schools. And it leads
What
into
happens
programs.
there, because they don't separate the age groups. One instance, they had my son playing with the older kids and they were playing with the real baseball. And he came home, his lip was really bad. And they didn't even call me to alert me or let me know what was going
just gave staff permission to talk, which is, a service structure.
Yeah, so we can defer this, it sounds like, to work out some things. It's, we're gonna have to, I think, follow Commissioner Hayes' leadership on this, but she actually is using the program.
Well, yeah, I know families that go over it too, so, but if we can get an understanding and put it in writing so he'll know, and he can't come back and say he didn't know or we didn't address it. I wish we did it when he was here, but that's all right, we can still go back and do it.
I tried, and he, skipped over my question, and he was more concerned about the funds, and I couldn't really get to a personal thing with him about it, but we can circle back to that.
All right, we're gonna table it, yeah,
With, myself, Ms. Jones.
and I'll come.
Rick Kim and Denise, we can meet with him to address the concerns. Structure MOU, we all come to agreement, present it back to you all at the last meeting.
Okay. And the last thing is hand in hand, Ms. Jones.
Okay, so with hand in hand, of course I wasn't here when it started, when they started the talks, negotiations, or whatever. And I'm not sure who initiated what, but at this point, according to HUD, it was not done properly. So no vouchers can be issued for that right now. The Section 8 staff here are going to be partnering with Northwest Georgia Housing Authority to go through the proper training that they need for the project-based vouchers. And they'll actually start Monday with that. And they will take them through the steps. And Ms. Sandra Hudson there, the executive director, has been through this, so she knows the steps, and that's why Ms. Shaw at HUD put the Brunswick Housing Authority with this particular housing authority. So they will do Zoom training starting on Monday, and then we will have to proceed from there. But as I stated, no vouchers can be issued right now because of that. HUD has to approve it. And so there's a protocol to go through with that, and that was not properly taken care of. So it is at a standstill right now. Not to say that it won't be approved, but you have to make sure that you go through the proper steps so they can't come back and say that
Ms. Jones,
And so, go ahead.
Did HUD say why it's not done correctly, or because there was a lot of stuff that wasn't done correctly?
Mhm.
So I'm just trying to figure out why hand in hand. And I don't have no personal thing with this, but did they explain why?
They did not, but from what I gather is that whatever paperwork was supposed to be sent to them for their approval, they did not know anything about it.
So the
So
staff didn't submit it.
So we approved it, but the staff didn't go and do their part and submit it to HUD.
Yeah, I think it's sort of a multi-step process that, I think it's supposed to be part of the annual plan that you'll include project-based vouchers, and HUD is made aware that that's part of your plan.
So the vouchers that, the project behind these lots, those are not project-based?
Supposed to be.
Section
They're regular HBC.
It's Section 8.
They're regular. This project basis is specifically for this project.
No, I understand that, but I thought that those were, supposed to be project-based vouchers as well.
It's Section 8.
They never did go through that process.
Tedious process.
And then there's an RFP, so the board would issue an ask staff to issue an RFP. If you're looking for, let's just say hypothetically, project-based vouchers to address homelessness in the community, you might have an RFP for that. Hand in hand could respond to that RFP, and you might, on staff's recommendation, the board might say that's who we want to partner with for this. So they're just different steps that I think is what the Northwest Georgia folks are going to say. Here's how you comply with that process.
Well, I guess my concern is because this is a major issue here locally, the homeless issue. and we thought we had a project that was going to help us solve this as a community. And now, because right now it doesn't matter who did what as far as the staff. We seem to be on the right track for it, but I don't know if there anything that we can do to help support this project to get some of these people off the street. We've got to get these people off the street. If we can help with that, then we need to see if there's something.
And so, as I understand, the other vouchers, the not project-based vouchers, could be somebody could qualify for a voucher and opt to live in one of those houses.
We can facilitate that in the
And I think staff's already communicated that to the hand-in-hand folks, but that's my understanding.
And then I think too, what probably needs to be understood, unless HUD gives some type of waiver, because I think hand in hand has what, 60 years or something?
Yes, they do.
I don't think that all of them will be awarded, according to the federal regulation, to that one particular.
It's 25%, and it's like 15 if you do 25%. But Ms. Hagee sent me some documentation that said that it's quoted HUD from 2017 that if they had a facility that did house homeless people or service homeless people, that they get an extra 10% or 20% to the original number that they were already getting. Right. So it was right. So it was like originally how we figured it out. It was 25 that they would get, but if they get that extra, then we added on to that.
So that will be waiting, pending HUD approval and going through the process and having everything included that should be put out.
So we're on track with the staff.
Yes.
That we have now. What staff is handling this?
Miss Douglas, Natasha Douglas, she is the Section 8 manager.
Okay.
And then she has some HCD specialists under her.
Okay.
And so they'll all be in the training.
So what is Ms. Cooper's role in this? Because I think
Well, what happened with Ms. Cooper was she told them that we never approved it, but we did approve it, but they did not submit the information to HUD. So that's where everybody was pointing the finger at who was supposed to do this, who was supposed to do that. And she was saying that we didn't have any authority to make that decision. But we approved it, and after we approved it, it should got submitted to HUD. So that's where we at.
That's why I asked the question. I know they approved it.
They came many times before us. They came to us before they started building. And as they were progressing, and then we kept asking them, when are you gonna open? And so now that we're there, we don't have our stuff together. So, yeah.
Have you sat down with them?
I have.
Yeah, if you would, please sit down with Ms. Hagee and probably Ms. Stadler and go over.
And I would be glad to, once I understand the process that we're supposed to be going through, so that it will give them a time frame of like when this is supposed to happen, so that we can be as transparent as possible, kind of alleviate some of the issues that have happened before. I just believe in being transparent and not making people question what's going on.
Okay.
Right, and the staff is already, Ms. Douglas is working with them possibly to place some of these people, right, qualifying them through Section 8.
Yes.
We do have that.
Yes.
That we can do.
Right.
Okay.
As well as public housing too.
We were notified because we had the open Section 8 list.
Right.
They were notified prior to that. So they should have had some people in mind.
Yeah, matter of fact, Jeff Clark, when we met Monday night, he talked about a family, single mother with 4 kids drove up here because she heard about the opening and only had enough money to get here. And so he's dealing with that now in that situation. But I don't know, do we, do we prioritize local people on our list? Is that possible? Or do we have to keep it open?
Preference.
Other preference,
Yeah,
it's just
We got veterans, we got disabled.
Right.
Right, I know about them, but at one time, the housing authority did not do, they just completely opened it up, and that's when we got this influx of people, from South Florida, I'm not gonna name a name.
Right.
And some of our issues came with that because, some family members moved up, who
Right.
might have been looking for a place to kind of hide out for a minute. This is the complaints I've gotten and information that, and so when you see certain things happening, this police report, not putting it on all on that, but that it's a difference when it's local people and then if it's opening up from anywhere.
We had that communication before with Ms. Strickland about bringing in
I don't know why they
people that
decided to do that.
moved into Brunswick, well, getting in housing prior to people that were waiting on the list. But it's a new day. It's a new day. So before we end, this was our last thing on the agenda. CMAP is coming up. Where are we with CMAP?
They are gathering all of the information that they need for that. The accountant that is working with the BHA, Philip Gerald, he will be here the last week of July. And he is going to put all of that together to submit.
Did you talk to him about retaining his
I have, but he's still up in the air, but when he's here, I will speak to him face to face and see what his thoughts are.
What is the CMAP?
That is a closeout interview for Section 8.
To get us
It's reports and stuff that have to be submitted, just like for public housing. You have a year-end closeout that has to be submitted, and it goes to her. And I think last year they had some problems with submitting it timely.
Yes, and doesn't that count for how many vouchers we get? The 750
Yes,
vouchers we
yes.
get for segregated. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Jones.
You're welcome.
If that's all, we go into executive session. So we have to go into
I think that we go into executive session.
and
Get Mr. Skipper so he can do the Teams
Second.
link. Thank you.
hearing is first and second, hearing is first and second. All in favor say aye. Opposers have the same. Hearing none, that motion carries.